In this video, I'm going to talk about the things that manifestation coaches don't really talk about. Maybe because they don't know about these things when it comes to spirituality, or haven't had the soul experience yet because they post videos after videos about techniques to manifest or what to say and how to say your affirmations, and buy their course because they got it all figured out, only to find out later on they left their old SP. After you spent hundreds already on their old way of manifesting out of desperation to get your SP. Yep, that was me. Why didn't they manifest their SP to be their desired version? Why did they manifest a new one? Why are they all of a sudden taking healing subconscious traumas more seriously? Well, I'm here to tell you that it is the difference between ego manifesting and soul manifesting, which is manifesting through the heart. Did you know that your ego and heart have different desires? It can turn into a war with yourself and leave you lost in a maze of which direction to go, what to choose, and most choose the ego way of manifesting. So a little backstory about me before we get started is I had a spiritual and kundalini awakening almost 4 years ago simultaneously, within a week. I was never ever a spiritual person before this happened. I was completely asleep in the matrix. But without knowing what I was doing at the time, I had a talk with myself and decided that one day I will find my perfect partner. I will love myself more, have my life set up financially, but most importantly, I wanted to find God for myself and not through religion. A couple months later, I met my twin soul, and I had a God realization within, which was the Kundalini awakening. I started to do research about what was happening to me after this week that all of this was going on. I did tons of deep research. I learned law of attraction through and through. I even got certified to teach by Dr. Joe Fatal because I was just so into it. I was reading books and studying about law of attraction from early morning until almost bedtime and meditating for hours every single day for a year straight. Also doing spiritual work like shadow work and light work on myself, including meditations to manifest my twin soul. Until I decided I wanted an easier way of manifesting, and then law of assumption came into my life. And this manifestation coach, who I will call Sam, came into my life. I found them right when they figured out how to manifest easily and quickly with just simple affirmations. And this is how I learned the difference between ego and soul manifesting. I am not here to shade anybody. I am just here for the truth. Trying Sam's tips and learning Neville's teachings got me the fastest manifestations. I affirmed with a conviction and power in my head voice, and other times I used visualization, which works really powerfully for me. I convinced my mind and body that I was God in my reality and no one was above me, from an ego-based mind. I got everything I wanted. I was controlling the matrix instantly. I still do that sometimes. And I even manifested my twin flame several times, but at the time this was all happening, I didn't know that it was all through ego, which was also why my twin flame showed up as split personality of his old 3D ego self and my desired version. But because I was manifesting through ego, I lost my manifestation because of the subconscious self-sabotage. The pain that I went through from that subconscious trauma, all of that came up was just too much that I completely stopped trying to manifest my twin soul and just didn't want anything to do with that journey. And I chose to manifest a true love soulmate, which is also known as a higher level soulmate. But at the time, I didn't know that was a thing until it happened for me. He was exactly what I needed at that time. He opened my heart more, and I felt so safe with him. It was literally beyond perfect. I was able to heal a lot of fears around self-worth, but it wouldn't be until my true deep healing from the loss and death of my soulmate that I learned the difference between ego and soul-heart manifesting. By the way, I did specifically choose this man. I chose what I wanted to show up in him and how he was going to be with me, and it all came true really easily. So when he died, I had so many questions going through my head and remembering all these affirmations. I am God of my reality. I am the operant power. I am the original thinker. I am the final decider. How can this happen? I did not manifest the death of my soulmate, of my specific person. I did, however, receive a vivid vision when I was awake in his room that I would be in this world without him. He was preparing to propose to me that weekend, which I was manifesting. I'm not a person who has visions. Only one other time in my life this happened, when my son was little. As a manifestation coach, I was completely lost and looking for answers that no other manifestation coach could answer. Even telling me, why did I need to revise? Why not let it be? Or why did I want to manifest somebody who was dead to be alive? These are the questions I was asked by these manifestation coaches after he had just died. I even asked Sam in a private chat, and they just couldn't answer me. I searched high and low, and I felt a little betrayed that these manifestation coaches that I listened to, they teach that we have the ultimate say. But life is not a manifesting journey. It is a spiritual journey. Change is constant. Spiritual growth and self-love is always the final answer. Not everyone is here on earth for the same purpose, and some of us are not even earthlings, but visiting, helping raise a collective consciousness, and so on. After my soulmate passed, I allowed myself 1 full month of full-on grieving, although it took me 3 for complete acceptance and healing. At the time, I was a manifestation coach, and I was also the example. I just couldn't allow myself to stay in this state of depression and crying and heartbreak. I had to let go, move forward, and become the new version my soul was intending me to be. You, as the ego self, manifesting your desires, is not the one who has the ultimate say. And that is a scary experience, because you have been told by people you listen to about manifestation that you are. Maybe they don't know it. Maybe they are just parrots repeating what they have heard. You are a soul having a human experience, and you will fulfill your purpose while choosing to enjoy the beautiful things on life has to offer. Your soul is eternal, though, because energy can't be destroyed. Energy transforms. So you will come back as a new ego personality with a totally different culture, or you will move on from Earth School and go to other dimensions. Does this mean that what you choose to manifest through ego now doesn't matter? Why even bother, right? Well, I still manifest through ego, but mostly I am now the soul self, not having an attachment to my desires and forcing or convincing myself to believe I am worthy or that what I want is already mine. It is now a knowing. It is now a faith, a conviction within that doesn't require constantly repeating affirmations. Although I am not shading those who do it, it does work really good. It works fine. Ego is impatient because ego is afraid that the manifestation won't happen or come true. No matter how good someone is at manifesting, there's always some fear of it not happening. That's interesting though, right? Why would there be a fear of it not manifesting if you are the one in full control? Because you subconsciously know that there is a higher power than your ego, your soul, your higher self. Not everyone you listen to about manifestation will always be right, no matter how wise, spiritual, and enlightened they are. For example, I have heard many spiritual teachers, law of assumption and law of attraction, say twin flames aren't real, or you just choose your twin flame. But if they have not had the experience themselves, then how could they ever know? I didn't choose my twin flame. Although he is my heart, my soul chose my twin flame, not my ego. But I did choose my true love soulmate, and it was my ego that chose. So I would never listen to the opinion of manifesting coaches like Sam, who doesn't believe in twin flames, and I wouldn't go to spiritual teachers I admire like Sadhguru Abraham Hicks or Eckhart Tolle on the topic of twin souls. I would go to someone who had my experience, because I know what I experienced. And yes, I am a twin flame. We are real. It's okay if you don't resonate with this, but I felt like it needed to be said, because I see younger generation manifesting coaches having breakdowns on their channel about life, wondering why things are changing not as they desired or affirmed. The answer is because this is a spiritual journey, not a manifesting one. You will be given the experience that is necessary for your spiritual growth. And kudos to those manifesting teachers out there who do encourage shadow work, light work, and spiritual growth. Because you can only tap it out for so long, or affirm on a rampage for so long, until those deep subconscious patterns return. And that is because you haven't returned to the source of love, fulfillment, and whole and completeness within you. When I was manifesting through the heart and soul, that is when my twin soul came back as his authentic higher self. Only when I slipped back into ego is when he left. And everyone is your mirror, not just your partners. As Neville said, people are messengers showing you who you are. They will mirror your lack of boundaries, your self-love, your focus, and more. If you use your ego energy, thoughts, and emotions to manifest them, you will find that it's draining you, and it does empower them, because you pour your energy into them. Even if you manifest them, they know they are on a pedestal subconsciously, because your energy is special. Your energy that you feed into them is making them special to your ego. Your energy is powerful. Your energy and focus feeds whatever your mind is thinking about. Imagine if you poured your special, powerful energy into yourself, totally and completely. Who then becomes special? Who then becomes authentically the prize? You, of course. You will become more powerful, more rare, more unique, more special, and always on the pedestal. You could be thinking, well, others have manifested by just affirming and sticking with this way of teaching. Yes, so have I, and so have you. But they only post their success stories, and if their manifestation goes away or leaves or they lose it because they fell off the affirming train, they won't tell you that. Even your favorite YouTuber teaching about manifesting knows about manifesting, but that doesn't equal a spiritual awakening. If you are here on this channel, more than likely you have had a spiritual awakening. You could be a twin flame or a higher level soulmate. You could be more spiritually advanced, or just like my subliminal topics, because we align with others like us, whether in one way or many ways. Anyone can have a spiritual awakening. It can happen in different ways. For Eckhart Tolle, it happened through his extreme depression. For Sadhguru, he went into a mountain or a hilltop and came back a different person, even recognizing that his mother was not his real mom. He now saw her for the character she was playing in his story. For me, it was meeting my twin soul that triggered my spiritual awakening. I was also on a search for deeper self-love and God, of course. I didn't know twin flames were a thing, which true twin flames don't know about these things until it happens to them. Things manifestation coaches don't always take into account is that as the soul, you had a predestined plan for this life. So although you can control majority of the things to go your way, some things you do not have control over, but the ego will never want to admit that. I figured out that my boyfriend who passed away, my soulmate, he manifested his own death. I figured out exactly how he did it, and that it was always in his life plan. I even had his spirit with me a few days after he passed away. He had taken control over my 3D reality by sending someone to me I didn't know, but I couldn't stop myself from following this person. And he led me to a group of people that were learning English, and there was a chalkboard. And there were messages being written on this chalkboard, and they were from my boyfriend who died. It was almost like being in a movie. It was so surreal. He kept trying to tell me that his death wasn't my fault, because at the time I was blaming myself, trying to figure out how I had a part in his death, since I am the operant power, right? Well, God is within me. God and I are one, but I am a personality character that God is playing. The ego self is not God, even though it does like to say it. Don't get me wrong, I still know I am God. I don't want to confuse you, but not from the ego perspective. Since going deep into my heart, I feel it on a soul level. Manifesting through the heart and soul is being authentically love, authentic about the happiness and fulfillment of receiving your desires and specific person, and not just because your ego said so. Which is why you see a lot of people manifesting through thankfulness and gratitude. Being authentically you and unafraid of rejection, and not being afraid that what you want won't manifest, because you are the energy feeding your vision with relief, thankfulness, and already having. already having your manifestation now with faith. You can never go wrong by choosing you first in this present moment. Allow yourself to be vulnerable and feel safe in that vulnerability. Be the vision, be the example of confidence, and not the silence that brings you regret. I have so many spiritual experiences I would love to talk more about, such as my experiences with high vibration and law of attraction, compared to my experiences with law of assumption. They are both real, and they both work. They are just different preferences. Also, high vibration is much more than just being joyful and happy. I heard a manifestation coach say that high vibration is just being happy, but it's not. I have been in high vibration for a long period of time, and I had the most incredible spiritual experiences. It is literally vibrating high, and it goes past emotions, such as happiness, which I will go into more detail in another video. So, in conclusion, I want to say, keep an open mind, manifest your desires, whether it's from ego or their soul. In time, you will reflect and see the difference between the two, because one will keep you unsatisfied and wanting more and more and more, and the other will be from a place of knowing, inner conviction, relief, presence, and love. People talking about what they manifest is all material. That is something the soul won't take into the next experience. So don't judge where they are or where you aren't. Just trust your path. Know you are special, different, and you're not a part of the masses. You are number one in your reality, because you are the one experiencing your reality. You are the prize. You are God of your reality, but not in an egotistical way, in a soulful, authentic, and beautiful way that is attractive, loving, and everlasting. There is many details I wasn't able to include about my higher level soulmate's death because I tried to keep this as short as possible. But if you want to know more, let me know in the comments or send your questions to my email and I will respond in another video. And please, no condolences. I am still in communication with him in the astral plane. He is very happy and has moved on to his new experience. Thank you for being here with me and supporting my channel. Love, Max.